All Things Motoring International is owned and brought to you by SA's most trusted online vehicle platform, ChangeCARS. Our name says it all. Whether you're looking to sell, need advice, need finance, or need insurance, ChangeCARS has you covered. In this week's episode of All Things Motoring International. With so much to see, the team rounds off their visit to Swat Cops Raceway and Cars in the Park. This is a show with even more nostalgia and memories. With so many cars on display, Mike and Ernest decide to split up to cover even more ground.
Sometimes you got to call in a favor, and in this case, we are Sean, the commentator, to turn down the music so that we can sneak up top here and look around. You really get a sense of how many cars and how many people at this event from on top here. When it comes to BMW enthusiasts, Bernie, you might be one of the ultimate BMW enthusiasts. Your title, again, it's a bit long for me to say it.
Yeah, it's chairman of the BMW M Performance Parts Race Series.
Okay. But we're not talking racing yet. We're talking very special cars here. Let's quickly go through the list. The M Coupe.
The clown shoe.
The clown shoe. The clown shoe.
It belongs to a friend of mine. It's one concourse.
Wow. Tiffany Dell famously said that that's one of the best handling cars he's ever driven.
It is. It's an awesome little car. Yeah.
Then we've got what looks like a 525.
Yes, it's a 525 E34.
I love how this car's aged. Then we've got the four-door M3, which is one of my favorites because you got all the space and all the performance. But there's one car here that I know you're going to say is the best car here. It's the M4CS. It's your car.
Yes. I think of the M4s of this generation, the F82 is probably the best one to go for because it's got the GTS parts on it, you know, the carbon bonnet and all that type of stuff, but it doesn't have the roll cage.
Yeah.
But to me, this is still the best M car they've ever built.
Wow.
To me, the E46...
You know prices are going to go up now after you've seen that,
Yeah, I'm
right?
smiling.
And then it's got the CSL wheels.
Yeah, this one's got CSL wheels on.
Then we got the iconic E30 two-door over here. This one you said is a 323?
Yeah, it's a 323. One of our club members that always attends our events, you know, these type of events. Nice, clean, little, honest little car, yeah. But obviously everyone wants is that, the 325 IS.
But this is the thing, the 323 came with the LSD. Nobody knew that. I begged my parents to get one. They almost did. But they did.
Awesome.
I was going to do donuts with that car as soon as we got it. Then, of course, my personal favorite, the 1M. BMW said that this was the last of the manuals. They lied. But having said that, as far as a manual compact performance car goes, it's like your E36 M3, isn't it?
Yeah, that's also a nice little car to have. It's still like sort of, there's no aids in there, you know, you drive that car.
Yeah. And this is a throwback to that.
Exactly. And all the parts that came off here from the E92 M3s and all that. So it's an awesome little car. We had like, I think, 62 that was imported into the country. So
I've driven one of those, one of my favorites. And this car over here, now I didn't think this was a Batmobile because it doesn't have a wing.
Okay, so it is the 3-litre CSL. He's got the CSL badging on there.
Nice.
The wing, when this car was imported into South Africa, apparently was stolen because they didn't come fitted with the wing on.
But still a fabulous, fabulous lineup of cars here. Bernie, I'm racing against you next week.
Yes, yes.
We're not in the same class though, your car's way faster.
Our first trip to Cape Town from the BMW M Performance Parts
We
Race
welcome
Series.
you in Cape Town. We look forward to hosting you guys next week.
I'm leaving tomorrow morning already. I'm ready to rock and roll there.
And thanks for everything you do for BMW.
Thanks, man.
One of the things that I feel privileged by is that wherever we go, we are made to feel welcome. But Louisa, you took that to the next level. The Datsun Club, yourself personally, the way you've made us feel today, absolutely exceptional. You're a long-time Datsun fan. Tell us about your memories of the brand.
I remember they're very reliable.
Yeah.
My father actually went out of petrol with his Datsun bakkie because he forgot to pour in. And if there was something wrong, it's just
Easy to fix.
fix.
Now, your earliest memories, what was the first Datsun you remember?
The first one I saw was the 260C.
The 260C, the incredible straight line, 2.6 litre, 6-cylinder engine, super smooth. What is it about the brand that resonates with you?
I've been a fan since 75. I started loving Datsun.
Yeah. I remember in the 1980s, November 1983, you saw every product that was in the Datsun Nissan range driving over the horizon, and the ad said, the name is changing, but the product will remain the same. In your opinion, the Datsun Club, most important club here?
Yes, for sure.
And roughly how many participants today?
About 28 of our club.
So 28 people have made the right decision. Datsun Club, well done to you. For whatever reason, some cars just don't make a sales success. Next to me is one such car, the Rover. In that era, there was two engines, the 2600, not 2.6, was pronounced 2600, and the 3500. What was the difference? The 2600 was a 4-cylinder, and the 3500 was a V8, the same V8 they used in the original Range Rover Classic. Just have a look at this car. Came out in 1978. Now, when you look at cars of the 70s, the Ford Cortinas, the Ford Granadas, the Chevy 4100s, they were square, they were boxy, they were unimaginative. Look at this car. It looked like something from the year 2000. Did they deserve more success? No question.
Coming up after the break, Mike and Ernest talk to some more car enthusiasts.
If you had to choose between the love of your life or a credit card with no limit that you never had to pay back, which one would you choose? Visa or MasterCard?
Are you looking to sell? Visit Change Cars and click on the Selling tab.
In the wild, there exists a creature that is perfectly adapted to the most challenging of terrains, the Discoverous Land Rovers 3 and 4. Now, despite being the size of an RDP house and costing 10 times as much, it is known to navigate all terrain with ease. On a sophisticated air suspension and powered by a powerful V8 engine, the Discoverous Land Rovers is unstoppable and a beast that will be forever at home in the wild and on Mommy's school run.
If you haven't heard of the ruthless Texas oil man that is J.R. Ewing, you either weren't alive in the 70s or the 80s, or you simply didn't watch TV. What car did he drive? Now think about it. He came from the great state of Texas, where Ford, Chev, you would imagine the big American brands were popular. No siree. He didn't drive a Ford or a Chev. He drove a 126 Mercedes. That was the only car that was fit for the most powerful businessman in the world. J.R. Ewing, I salute you. Mercedes, we salute you. Is there anybody that doesn't dream of a camper van? Whether you're a young couple or a retired couple, What is the most iconic camper van? For me, it has to be the VW Autovilla. Incredible 1970s design, but there was one weakness, and you have to call it a weakness. A 1600 Beetle engine, air-cooled, that wasn't exactly the strongest engine around. Behind us, you've got what I consider absolute perfection. I'm walking around looking for an interesting story. As I saw this vehicle, it was like, team, follow me, I know what I want. John, what you own here is absolutely standout. Tell us about this absolute beauty.
Thank you very much for stopping by and chatting to me. This is my baby named Airbus, simply because the cabinets in the high top, when you shut them, it sounds like you're on an Airbus. I acquired this bus 2020, just the weekend before lockdown, so it gave me some time to clean it. I'm a camper by heart. I also tow a caravan, but this has really become my baby. It's actually very, very special.
But John, for me, what is standout?
Yes.
The 2.6-litre engine,
Yes.
5-cylinder, 100 kilowatts, 200 Newton meters of torque. This isn't the kind of vehicle you get in and think, oh, I'm going to Drakensberg, it's going to be hell on wheels. What is it like to drive?
No, it's absolutely amazing to drive on the highway past Menlyn, those uphills there.
Yeah.
It just pulls away. Because it's older, I want to look after it. So, you know, I drive 110, 100, whatever. Those uphills, it actually accelerates out underneath me, and I'm doing 120 or 130 when I get to the top.
John, it's been a privilege speaking to you. What you're looking at here is, in my opinion, the finest camper on the market.
In the 1980s, Samcor was the company that supplied many South Africans with their motoring memories, including the iconic XR3. But this one behind me here, Juven, it's one of the best looking ones I've ever seen. Condition-wise, it's been fully restored by you and your company. Please tell us a bit more about the car and your company.
Okay, so I've got a business in Midrand and it's called Glare Auto. We restore classic and performance cars, mainly Ford, because I've owned so many Fords over the years from the 1990s. And that's the reason why I know so much about the car, is because I've owned them.
And that makes a difference for anybody that's a tuner, restorer.
Of course.
You've been down the road.
Yeah, it's familiar. It's a familiar thing.
Well, what isn't familiar is the fact that there's paint right at the bottom of the chassis. You guys stripped this entire car down.
We stripped it down to bare metal. There was nothing on this car. It was a 6-month build. It was on stands, no suspension, no engine, no gearbox, no interior, no windows, not even a clip or screw, and it was basically resprayed from an empty shell.
And then lastly, for me, the cherry on the cake, this car's with wheels.
Yeah, of course, because it's an OEM wheel. It's Ford. It's original Ford. Came off a Sapphire Cosworth, but a 40 offset 15-inch looks perfectly on a front-wheel drive car.
It looks like it's cut from the factory like
OEM.
this.
It's OEM Sweet Plus.
I'm standing here with Klaus Ludwig and his Mercedes-Benz Francisco. That car is just mega. It's probably my favorite car here at the show so far. As someone that's a massive fan of 90s touring cars, and the touring car sort of revolution is happening now, where that 30-year phase of nostalgia is kicking in hard. Yeah. But you've done it right. Let's start from the front. It's got the right engine, it's got the right wheels. What's going on?
Well, I wanted to recreate something that I grew up with, you know, so this has always been like a childhood dream, and that was a life-changing event for me.
Yeah.
So a lot of people help me. Anton Dekker from Exclusive Conversions, they mainly do Porsches, so they recreate old Porsches. And he heard about this and he was like, I want to do this car. And I was like, you know, it's like probably going to be very expensive, you know. And he's like, listen, dude, just send the car. We'll talk about, we'll
sort out the price later.
And yeah, he did an awesome job.
And then that engine, you've got the 2.3 16-valve engine in front there, throttle bodies, it's got carbon intake.
The engine, the bottom end stock. I did a bit of head work with the JT Performance. We adapted the M3 throttles, it's got M3 throttles on. And then the intake, the airbox was actually a gift from him. Yeah, so that was an ex-DTM car. They actually modified the airbox also to fit the car and stuff. So, yeah, then everything underneath is all stainless stick welded.
And the detail is just the wing mirrors, the seats.
Yeah, so, you know, like when you're trying to keep the car sort of original, but you still want to add a little bit of, you know, that race look. You know, that's basically what it is.
I'm supposed to have a bunch of short interviews, but this one went a lot longer because I'm not even done yet. I'm going to go stay at this car now, and Craig, our cameraman's going to get as many of those detailed shots as possible. Enjoy the B-roll, people, that's all I can say.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Coming up after the break, Mike and Ernest's time at Cars in the Park comes to an end. Did you know? This year marks the 34th anniversary of one of the coolest homologation special road cars in history, the Mercedes-Benz 190E 2.5 16 Evolution 2. Despite having one of the longest names in motoring history, it's also a supremely impressive piece of kit. Revealed at the Geneva Motor Show in 1990, the Mercedes-Benz fastest 190E dominated German touring car racing of the era and became an instant icon. Originally built with rally racing in mind and rendered immediately obsolete by the turbocharged all-wheel drive Audi Quattro, Mercedes decided to take a shift to touring cars, therefore interrupting a motorsport hiatus that lasted for several decades following the horrific 55 Le Mans accident. It was a triumphant comeback, clocking 150 DTM victories with the 190 between 1988 and 1993. In the 1992 season, the 190E 2.5 16 Evo 2 won 16 of 24 races and took the top 3 places in the driver's standings, Klaus Ludwig winning the first DTM championship for Mercedes. Looking for finance and insurance? Visit Change Cars and click on the Financial Products tab.
Nowadays, performance SUVs are very, very common. But back then, there weren't many. But there was the GMC Typhoon, an SUV so powerful and so fast that it was compared to the Ferraris and Corvettes of the time. But for more detailed information on the Cyclone and the Typhoon from GMC, let's take it to the voice in the sky.
The GMC Typhoon is a high-performance SUV produced from 1992 until 1993 and was based on the GMC Cyclone. The Typhoon is powered by a 4.3-litre V6 with uprated pistons, main caps, head gaskets, intake manifolds, fuel system and exhaust manifolds, producing 209 kilowatts and 475 newton-meters of torque. A staggering figure for an SUV of the time. The Typhoon had a self-leveling rear suspension, much like vintage Mercedes-Benz's, which inflated air bladders to counter rear-end sag when the SUV had heavy luggage inside. And when it came to performance, 0 to 100 was measured in just over 5 seconds, meaning not many supercars of the time could keep up with this family SUV off the line.
As a visitor or an exhibitor, you arrive at Cars in the Park, Swat Cops Raceway. Everything is ready for you. The place is immaculately clean. Everything is properly organized. Frick, that's what we see, super easy, behind the scenes to put all this together. Tell us what goes into it.
Well, it's about 9 months of planning. We had a great day, the weather is fine. We had more than enough cars
for sure
and visitors.
So now this is my 3rd year, blown away in 2022, amazed in 2023, and I can honestly say to you, I think this year was the best. It feels like every year is better than the last.
Well, we try. Every year we learn something new.
How many cars were here today, roughly?
About 2,200 cars.
2,200. Now, I spoke about ease of entrance. Imagine getting 2,200 cars into a facility like this. We're just talking about the exhibitors. We're not talking about the patrons. The patrons, I imagine, were way, way, way more. Well, we made a promise, 2025, will we be here? Frick, all things motoring, are we invited in 2025?
You're welcome. More than welcome.
It will be a pleasure and a privilege to be here again.
All right, thank you for coming and support us.
All Things Motoring International is truly about to become international. Michael Simonetti, you are about to embark on the most incredible journey. You are immigrating to Portugal.
I am indeed.
Right. You're immigrating to Portugal to bring us some incredible content. Tell us about Michael Simonetti.
So I will be immigrating to Portugal in 2 weeks' time, and I've loved cars. I've loved all things motoring, the content that they provide, the engagement with the audience, and in the name it says All Things Motoring International, and I want to bring some of that international flair and European motoring back to South Africa.
Being based in Portugal, you're 2 hours from anywhere in Europe. It can be England, it can be Italy. In fact, it's less than 2 hours. The type of events that you're looking to attend, obviously Grand Prix. Who doesn't want to attend a Grand Prix? But then Goodwood Festival of Speed. What else have you got in store?
So March coming now is the Portimao MotoGP. Obviously, we've got Brad Binder there in MotoGP and Darren Binder in Moto2.
And Marc Marquez, of course.
Famous South African, we all know.
I'm a proudly Spanish and South African supporter.
And then obviously one of my key things that I'd love to experience and share with people is the Mille Miglia in Italy. I think there's not many motorsport events like that out there.
That's incredible. So everyone's got to have a name. I'm cool with Ernest being known as Ernest, Temba being known as Temba, but unfortunately Mike's already taken. So what is your stage name going to be?
So I'm going to be Other Mike. There only can be one Mike in this town, and unfortunately that was already taken.
The sheriff's position is already taken, you say?
So I will be Other Mike in Europe.
And then one more beautiful thing, Mike has recently got married. When I say recently, in the last week, to you and Christy. May this be the start of an incredible journey together. Wishing you the very, very best, and may this journey go from strength to strength.
Awesome, thank you, Mark.
It's the end of Cars in the Park, or almost the end, as the cars and the visitors wind their way out. From my side, I've been winding my way around this place and stumbled upon some frankly unbelievable cars. For me, the one that stands out the most is that GMC Typhoon, a car that reminded me of flipping through car magazines in the mid-80s and 90s.
For me, I'm going to sit on the fence today. The one that stands out the most is everyone that was here. You say it's winding down. I reckon there's still about 600 or 700 cars around us, and probably 40 to 50% of the cars have already left. A day like today stand out for all the right reasons.
Yeah.
Incredible cars, but the fans and the people who support this event, how would you describe the people we interacted with today?
The thing that I noticed, number one, is that more people recognize the show since last year.
Of course.
And number two, the people at these events are here to talk. They want to have a good time and interact. They want to share their stories and share their cars. And you could walk into conversations anywhere, from the guy with the biggest, baddest 4x4 to the lowest golf on the other side of the circuit over there. It's everything in between. And I think that's what is the lure of Cars in the Park.
Absolutely. So whether you've got an Alfa Romeo to Volvo, we've often said it, or anything in between, old or new, modern, classic, vintage, you name it, this is the home for you. What I love seeing is the way the public walk around and almost stop at every car, because each car's got a story.
Yeah, I've got to say there's one negative from me though, and is that there are just so many cars. When you walk past something that's ultra special, you might not even notice it because there's something right next to it. So I think this is the kind of event you should be doing multiple laps.
Well, today we were together for 6 hours, and together, when I say together, walking around the track, not once did we film together. There's just so much to do. 2025, can it get better?
I think 2025 can certainly get bigger. I'm looking forward to seeing what they bring next year, and I'm hoping that Cape Town does something similar. What an event, and to the organizers and specifically Frick Kramwinkel, thanks for the invite and thank you for the show.
Here is the screen top tip of the week. Treat it to a spa day. Treat your car to an interior detail once in a while to keep it feeling fresh and comfy. Before you buy a second-hand car, screen it. It's what smart people do. Coming up next week on All Things Motoring International, Mike attends Porsche Loftus Sunday, and Ernest competes in the National Extreme Festival at Killarney Raceway. This is a show with performance and poise.
So who is a camping partner for you?
Don't actually have a camping partner at the moment.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
So there's space for two. If you...
Okay, he's kidding himself.
No, these other cameramen.
How are you?
This is
a long time.
Our cameraman from our race series who are in our shot.
Get out the shot, guys. Come on now.
Do you have children?
I do. A 13-year-old boy, proudly born on Daddy's birth.
And you love him?
Love him more than life
And
itself.
what would you sell him for?
I get the picture. I get the picture.
I hope you get it right.
What?
What car is this?
The M1. Why do BMW people get upset when I call it the M1?
Because there's like a 15 million rand difference.
Do you need any motoring advice? From where or what to buy and where to sell? Visit the All Things Motoring International website and click the Advice tab to ask Mikey. All Things Motoring International was brought to you by SA's most trusted online vehicle platform, ChangeCars. Our name says it all. There is no safer online vehicle platform. That's not an opinion, that's a fact.